Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Good morning. Welcome in. This is Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les Stanford. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, alongside me, Matt Broder and Terry Foster. How's your mornings going so far, gentlemen?
Great rainy Tuesday morning, but it's victory week.
Yes, it is.
Basically making it 2 victories in a period of what, 4 days, 5 days?
Can we make it 3?
I'll take it. I'll take
Terry,
it, Gabby.
how's your morning been so far?
Wet. And I think I got some moisture in my shoes. But other than that, I'm good.
Well, you wore Converse on a rainy day. You got to get your galoshes
and
out.
there's a hole in the bottom, so that's why my feet got wet.
They probably are wet.
I just felt like bitching this morning. That's all.
Okay.
I'm done now.
Uncle T, you've been tossed through the media this week.
I know there. People found out I'm Uncle T, who spearheaded the Michigan cheating scandal.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if I could show my face here because I know there's a lot of Michigan fans, and I let them down. And
you didn't let us down.
Well, you know, I'm part of the scandal.
Just keeps on growing.
Well, if Matt Broder, the Michigan man,
That's me.
is not upset with you, then I think you're safe.
I think he's mad because I didn't give him any money.
I was about to say, how much of that money has gone to the baseball team? 0.
Zitters, because no one cares.
0.
Well, we have a lot to get into this morning from the Lions win at home over the Bears. We're going to kick it off with what we normally do on a Tuesday morning, a little review of the pessimistic and optimistic that we gave before the Lions started playing. So, Matt, your pessimistic was not playing so well against a mobile quarterback.
Weird.
And Terry's pessimistic was being worried about the passing game of Justin Fields. So how are you both feeling on this Tuesday morning?
Well done, Terry. We got it.
Well, we knew where it was going to go.
Yeah.
But, Justin Fields played well. He passed the ball well, except he missed a couple passes later on. But I think the Bears, we can look at that. Well, the Bears, they stink, and the Lions were down. I thought the Bears were coming in to kick some ass.
They showed up.
They were fighting for extra yards. It looked like this game meant something to them.
For sure.
And so that's the way it is. But Justin Fields, man, he did everything.
Yeah, the Bears showed up. And even their defense, they played a physical game. They were hitting the Lions pretty hard right from the start. They definitely set the tone in this game. But you're right, Justin Fields, they just couldn't really contain him all game, both with his legs, and he had a couple big throws. He missed a couple throws, but he also had a couple big throws, like that touchdown pass to DJ Moore. So I think we were pretty spot on in what was gonna give the Lions some trouble.
And I'm gonna give you a little look into the future. He's going to be a pain in the ass for the rest of his career because, one of the things that we were trying to figure out, or people in Chicago are trying to figure out, should they keep Justin Fields or should they move on since they have all these high draft picks? Should they pick another quarterback? I think, what we saw on Sunday, this man's going to stay in Chicago.
You think so?
In Chicago, no quarterback can succeed there because he's getting bad coaching. They've been making bad decisions. He needs more weaponry. This is not Justin Fields' fault. The dude can play.
Oh, yeah.
So I think he's going to be in the thorn in the side to the Lions forever.
Forever.
Till he retires, of course.
You think he needs a quarterback whisperer by the name of Jim Harbaugh?
Or Ben Johnson.
What do you think is more likely, that Justin Fields would find a replacement or that the coaching staff will be replaced in this next year, in this offseason?
Both.
Coaching staff, because they're horrible.
They'll definitely be first, right?
Mm-hmm. And so
maybe at the same time, like you're saying.
I think they're gonna let Justin Fields at least play out this season, sort of put on a showcase in case they decide to trade him. I mean, if you're a Bears fan, the loss to the Lions was kind of best case scenario where your team actually played well. You got to see some things. Justin Fields played well, but you lost. So you get a little closer to that number 1 and number 2 draft pick. But the coaching staff will definitely be first to go. And then the new general manager and new coach will make a decision on who's going to be the franchise quarterback.
And maybe this won't be their guy. So there's a possibility they could move on from Justin Fields. But I think this dude can play. I would stand behind him.
I would too.
Get somebody who can coach.
Yes. I'm with you, Terry.
If I'm the Bears, I'm hiring Ben Johnson.
Yeah, without a doubt.
To get to the positive, Terry, your optimistic for this last game was the running game shows out, and then Brian Branch needing to have more game time.
Yes.
And were you pleased with the amount of game time that Brian Branch got?
Yes and no.
Okay.
He made some tremendous hits, but the silly penalties really hurt him. The holding, and I don't get you can't hold a receiver beyond 5 yards. I can understand you doing it once and maybe twice because you're all in motion and everything, but 3 times? Come on, dude.
Can't have that happen.
They were big too.
They just happened at the most inopportune times too.
I think 2 of them were 3rd and 15 or longer, or 3rd and 10 and longer, and they were 5-yard penalties, but they were automatic first downs. Up until that point, he played really well, though. I mean, we could see those flashes that we saw at the beginning of the season, and I saw a stat. He became the first rookie DB in the NFL since 1999, produced multiple games with 3 tackle for losses in a season. Not too shabby. Brian Branch, rookie DB.
Mm-hmm. I've been seeing it said everywhere, Terry, that the Lions do not win these games. The Lions do not win these games. I felt like every channel I flipped through, they were all saying the same thing. The Lions do not win these games. The Lions do not win these games.
Can we change one word in that?
Sure.
The Detroit Lions did not.
Let's go.
Let's go.
That's it.
But but no NFL team would win this game. You've had the ball for 20 minutes. You are -3 in plus minus turnovers. No team wins games like this. Mm-hmm. And you're down 12 with 4 minutes left. You're done. You're dead.
In the water.
Dead in the water. But and there's 2 ways to look at this game. Like, look at the Lion flaws, and they're not going to be able to overcome them down the road. Or the way I look at it is, when you're on your deathbed and they put the paddles on your chest and you wake up, you're a different person. I think this is going to be something that supercharges the Lions because they know they've got flaws. Normally teams correct those flaws when they lose. Now you can correct those flaws after 2 wins. Mm-hmm. And the Lions knew they were dead in the water. And I don't care what the players said. I'm sure a lot of them said, okay, we can't win this game. But when you do, it does something to you. You get put a little jolt in your step. No matter what situation they're going to be in the rest of the season, they can say, you know what? We're getting our asses kicked, but we can still win this game because we've done it before.
Mm-hmm. So that kind of perfectly leads me into my next question, which is, does this game give you more of a reason to be optimistic or pessimistic about the Lions' future?
Yes to both questions.
Okay.
But mostly it makes me optimistic because there's something magical happening here. When they're down 12, they made all the plays you needed to make to win that game. They went against the fans, ran the football, and then they became that team that just, okay, we're going to win this damn game, and we're going to do everything we can to do this. So I like that from them. It wasn't this, okay, we're down 2 scores and there's 4 minutes left. Let's get our little BS touchdown to make the score look good and then just die from there.
Matt, would you agree?
I would. I loved what we saw from them to end that game. It just paints a picture of what this team can be, whether it's you got a quarterback or a coaching staff that doesn't fold under pressure, or just they got the right guys in the room where like Terry said, they just really didn't give up until the end. Seeing how perfectly they executed the 2-minute drills at the end of the half and at the end of the game was amazing to see. Every team, every championship winning team, whoever that is, they go through a little bit of adversity. They have to go through some adversity adversity
Yeah.
through the season. It's something they'll be able to learn from this game. Luckily, they do have a short week, so they can have a short memory and kind of forget about some of the negative stuff. But at the same time, a lot of their practices this week are walkthroughs, and they've already played the Packers, so there's not as much preparation. So they really can sort of take the good and the bad from that game and use it to fuel them moving forward, because they have a chance to chase that number one seed. It was made a little tougher last night with the Eagles win, but the Lions have that path in front of them to make it happen, and it was just good to see how they executed down the stretch when they like Terry said, it was the perfect last 12 plays. They had to be run perfectly for them to win that game, and they did it both on offense and defense.
Jared Goff was resurged in those last 2.5 minutes, like you were talking about,
Right.
Terry.
Because every time he dropped back the pass, I'm going to say, okay, here's another interception. But we didn't see it. He was perfect, or near perfect. And so some good teams know how to make plays in the crucial moments. I always go to the NBA. Guys can hit shots with 5 minutes left in the second quarter, but you ask them to make that same shot with 2 minutes left in the game, that basketball turns into a pumpkin.
Completely different.
Like, I don't want this. So the football didn't turn into a pumpkin for the Lions. It maybe turned into one for the Bears, but the Lions were like, okay, we got this. We're going to make championship plays, or at least plays to beat these clowns here. And so that's the difference between the team that cannot win these games to those that could not win these type of games.
I love that. That's a perfect
If that
explanation.
makes sense.
No, it 100% does. And we're talking about the pumpkin being the ball, the football. I'm trying to make this transition with this pumpkin idea. But we're getting to our game balls in the next segment, so stick around and we'll be right back.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder.
Welcome back to another episode of Woodward and Main Street here on Woodward Sports Network. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, alongside me, Matt Broder and Terry Foster. And thank you to our friends at Les Stanford for making this show possible. We are recapping the Lions win over the Bears bright and early this morning to get things kicked off as we look back at this past game and what it means for this game coming in just 2 short days. Now.
Yeah. What a big time. What a big week for the Lions. Who would have thought would be in this position come Thanksgiving?
You know what we talked about before this stretch started? Would you be okay with them going 2-1? Now I think people would be disappointed if they went 2-1 because you won the first 2 games, and now you got Green Bay, a team you already beat at Lambeau. So it's either 3-0 or bust.
I would agree.
Sold.
I don't think people want to start their Turkey Day off with a Lions loss, and we're going to get into plenty of Turkey Day talk later. But now let's get into our game balls of the week, and Terry's going to be mad at me.
Uh-oh. You cheated again, didn't you?
Who?
She cheated.
Dang, what you pick, like 8 players this week?
Maybe.
Yep, I did.
Offense,
No, I
couple on
didn't. I
defense.
didn't pick a single player this week. I picked Mr. Dan Campbell as my game ball of the week. So very excited about that. But Matt Broder, kick it off and let me know why you picked Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, to me, he was the most important guy on the field from the start of the game to the end of the game. He didn't have his craziest stat line of the year, although it was pretty impressive. 8 catches for 77 yards and 1 touchdown. It just seemed like he was always there to make the difficult catch, to move the chains whenever they needed that tough first down or that touchdown at the end of the first half that he somehow kept off the turf. I don't know how he does that. I just thought he didn't make the monster play, maybe the game-changing play throughout the game, but he was there to make the key plays that they needed to win. So I'm going with the sun god himself, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I went with Jahmyr Gibbs because I can't pick Amon-Ra St. Brown every week. Mm-hmm. But you
Facts.
could.
You could.
Jahmyr Gibbs, once again, is showing that he is a important part of this running game. He's tough. He's running tough. He doesn't move the pile like Montgomery, but he's got a little funk to his game. And, scored a big touchdown.
4th straight game.
Right. So I like the way he's doing it.
Now, I know you didn't pick Montgomery, but how happy were you for Montgomery getting that touchdown against his previous team?
Oh, he was jacked up.
Oh, for sure.
Right. So
because just like you said, even though he said it wasn't a big deal that he was playing his previous team, it was a pretty big deal.
Huge.
Yeah, when you kick your leg up in the air and everything, and you're happy. Mm-hmm. And those his boys over there because they were talking before the game. What's up? Got some love for you, but I'm gonna get this touchdown tonight, brother.
Yeah. And it was important too that he played his best down the stretch there. The game really wasn't a David Montgomery game. It didn't lend himself to 30 carries and 200 yards rushing.
Those days are over, young man. They're over.
Exactly. Now they needed him down the stretch. He caught a few balls out of the backfield. He made a few big runs, and then they gave him the ball to win it there at the end. It was great. He could have been. Honestly, I thought he was going to get the game ball from Dan Campbell after the game. He very well could have. No one blew anybody away, so you could have given it to a handful of offensive guys. Mm-hmm. But hey, David Montgomery, it's a big win against your old team.
Do you agree with Dan Campbell's game ball for this game, giving it to Aiden Hutchinson?
I do not. I think Aiden Hutchinson was good, but Aiden Hutchinson, and the last time he got a game ball too, he made the play, a big play, but the game was over. Mm-hmm. When Aiden Hutchinson got that sack and then the safety, the Bears were pretty much done. So I think he's kind of like the closer that comes in with an 8-run lead, and then he gets the side out, and then we say, let's give him the game ball. I disagree with that.
Yeah.
So that was one of the only reasons that I didn't want to give Dan Campbell my game ball, because I wasn't exactly sure if I agreed with his decision to do that. I think the better choice, obviously there's several options here. He could have been on that list, but personally, if I was in his shoes, I think I would have given it to J-Mo.
I like that.
Yeah,
I think
that works.
he's somebody who obviously made a huge difference in the game, made a big difference in the energy of the game and turning it around, but also somebody that I think would, not that Aiden Hutchinson doesn't appreciate it, but I think Jameson Williams is at this place in his career and at this place in his development where something like a game ball would make a huge difference to him, and I think even in the eyes of the wider media and wider fan base. So if I was Dan Campbell, that's who I'd give it to. So maybe I should have given him my game ball, but I instead gave it to Dan Campbell because I'm continuing on my cheating streak.
Okay, yes, and we're going to let you do it. But Dan
Campbell
and that touchdown you talked about, I'm going to say this on every show we have with Jameson Williams.
Pound the table.
Let him fly.
Let him
Just
fly.
say, get in the huddle, look at him and say, go. And that's what they did. They could do that 2 to 3 times a game. Fly.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even have to catch it. Just having that option. That
well,
threat.
You want him to catch it.
Well,
though.
of course you want him to.
Because a lot of times the cornerback's not even getting safety help. So what's he going to do with Jameson Williams? Nothing. Just, hey, brother, fly.
Yeah.
The ball will be there. Just catch the damn thing, run off the field, and celebrate.
He can run by him anyway, but that play, his touchdown pass, they all creeped up on St. Brown, who cut his route short. J-Mo was able to get there, sneak behind the defense for that touchdown. And you look after that play, what did the Lions have wide open for them all the way down the field on that final drive? It was the middle of the field because they had J-Mo out there, and he was out there at the end of the game. They trusted him for those key snaps. All those that secondary had to play him a little deeper. They had to worry about the deep pass. They took a shot the next drive too that didn't complete the pass to J-Mo down the left side of the field, but he was there, and you could see Sam Laporta got a couple catches. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, that whole middle of the field opened up after J-Mo caught that pass. He made a huge difference, and he was out there on that final play of the game when David Montgomery, the 1-yard touchdown run at the goal line, they trust J-Mo out there to block, to do what he needs to do. That's you can just see J-Mo's confidence start to come out both on the field and off the field. You're starting to see him grow.
Well, he's one of the boys now. They're like, hey,
Yeah.
you're a guy rather than just outsider.
That's a real thing.
But you know what? Ben Johnson does a fine job as an offensive coordinator. But if I were offensive coordinator, J-Mo would have 6 touchdowns by now.
You get the rock in his hand a couple more times.
Fly.
Yeah.
Just go.
Fly. Get out there.
That's
You
it.
got it. Keep running. But I thought one of the great examples of what you were saying, Matt, was his video that I know I've talked about it before with the lady who picked Jahmyr Gibbs up into the stand, but the
She didn't pick him up in the stands, but go ahead.
she guided him into her arms.
Okay.
There you go. So Jameson Williams watching the video of his touchdown as he's running through the tunnel was so exciting, and seeing that smile on his face and that energy, and seeing him, like, he was so quick to look at that, be so happy, but also like wanting to get right into the locker room.
Yeah.
Which is such an important tell of where he's at with this team. And I think we're going to start to see Lions fans turn around to that.
Yeah, they better. I'll be the gatekeeper of Jameson Williams. Like, it's time for everyone to get on board. He's doing all the right things, and I don't know. I can just feel his confidence start to come out. Everything he said after the game was about his teammates. It was about Jared Goff getting him the ball. It was about the defense. Like, he's just starting to I don't want to say grow up, because that sounds kind of derogatory. He's becoming one of the guys. He's just feeling better about being on this team, and it's really cool to see this happen right in front of our eyes, and see this offense, how it's going to develop, how they're going to use him in different ways. Ben Johnson, I think he's the right guy for the job.
Ben Johnson is one of the coaches of the Lions, but I want to talk about my game ball coach pick. How did you feel about MCDC's performance on Sunday?
I didn't think it was anything special.
Okay.
I think he was all right. At the end, yes, they made plays to win the game, but I thought he was just, Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Do you have more trust in him now after that game?
I do. I think this game, and I don't mind giving him the game ball. I think this game is more about how he's coached this team up over this entire season, over the last couple seasons. Like, they've built in, or he's instilled that belief that they're not out of games, that they're still able to kind of muster up a win in a gritty game they needed in a dome. When a game like that seems like it would have been outside at Soldier Field or in Chicago. So I sort of credit it to the body of work he's put in before, but they still have some things to work on. The third quarter, they've struggled all year in the third quarter, and I don't know if that's more on Ben Johnson or the coordinators, or it's got to be on the head coach to get their team ready in some way to come out of the locker room and not lay an egg or not give the ball up. They have some pretty rough third quarters, let me say.
Maybe Dan Campbell uses halftime to just go to the bathroom or something. He's not really talking to his team. Because he gets them fired up before the game. He gets them fired up after the game. How come they're not fired up in the third quarter?
I don't know. And they usually do come out pretty hot. If they've ever gotten the ball, gotten the opening kickoff, they've usually gone down and been ready. I wonder what it is about that third quarter.
Room for improvement. There's always room for improvement, and we don't have a long list of things.
Yeah. Those
to
espresso
cover
shots
for
are wearing
his
off.
Improvement. Yeah, just need like a halftime little kick. Maybe it only kicks in by the fourth quarter, and that's
I can tell you some
that.
improvement right now.
Okay.
Jared Goff don't throw 3 interceptions. How about that?
Yeah.
that would be a good start.
That would help the team. I don't know. Something about Jared Goff just impressed me. Like, it was not his best game, but I just saw you saw his leadership come out. He was very calm all game. Like, even after those interceptions, I would have been on the sideline throwing my helmet or kicking the water jug. But he was just, man, lost that one. Moving on to the next drive. There's something.
Or
he showed me
even
something.
if you weren't messing up a jug or something, it was like the next time you go back to pass, you're thinking like, okay, can I get this, squeeze this in the tight window? Because you still have to put the ball in a tight window or something if you're going to win the game.
Yeah.
So the fear factor was gone.
Yeah. It's funny you said that. The second interception he threw that was, towards the direction of Donovan Peoples-Jones, he actually hesitated. He pump faked or hesitated to Malcolm Rodriguez, the fullback, in the he'd come out. He ran a 5 or 10 yard route, and I just think Malcolm Rodriguez, he's so new to this offense, kind of like J-Mo a couple weeks ago. Like, that rhythm, that trust wasn't there. Jared Goff, he usually doesn't hesitate. Like, we've seen him grow. He's not, when he sees what he wants, he throws it. But he hesitated to Malcolm Rodriguez and then threw a bad ball that was batted or tipped at the line towards Donovan Peoples-Jones, also a new wide receiver. So that was the one that was the most interesting to me to break down. Like, all right, Jared Goff, like, how did that happen? Some of the other ones were just bad plays. They were just bad throws.
I think your reasoning for being so proud of Goff in a sense for this game is my reason why I chose Dan Campbell, is because I did not see him sweat. I did not see him. You see his continued Danisms that he has throughout the game, but I didn't see any of those getting in the way of him connecting with his players, connecting with his coaches, and making that win happen, even when, like you said, there's probably plenty of people on that field that didn't think that they were going to pull it out.
Yeah, think about Dan Campbell. He's like a crackhead. He's all jacked up it doesn't matter what's going on. He's all jacked up. He's talking silly. He's moving around, being out of control. But within that fury, there's a man under control.
Oh yeah. You can see he's calm too. He's got a little more maturity, a little savviness
He's not
to him.
calm. Come on, stop it.
Calm, I don't know. That might be a stretch.
in relation to what he used to be like, in relation to kneecap biting Dan Campbell, which I still love, but that was there was less confidence I had in his decision making at the end of games, at the end of quarters. I don't know. There's something about him.
I don't know what you're saying. Crackhead. During the game, he's a crackhead, man.
Tyrone Biggums.
He's foaming at the mouth. He's, I think he's thinking about so many things are going through his mind. He's trying to motivate, stimulate, educate, but it just all comes out with this guy. He can't hold it in.
That's true.
But once again, within that fury, there's a calmness about him because it seems like he makes the right moves at the right time.
Yeah. Damn.
And I think it's the right time to head to the next segment. When you get back and stick with us here, we are going to get a little bit more into our game in review. I have plenty of questions to ask Matt Broder and Terry Foster about what this game meant to the Lions season. So stick with us and we'll see you in a few.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Woodward and Main Street. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, alongside me Matt Broder and Terry Foster to kick off your Lions recap. And it's a winning week, and we love that. And a huge thank you to Les Stanford for making this show possible, for sponsoring us and keeping the lights on. We love that. We love that. Heck yeah. So now we're going to get into some questions to wrap out our review of the Lions' win over the Bears. Kicking things off, we touched a little bit on Mr. Goff and his performance during the game, which he said, and I quote, "Not my best ball for 3.5 quarters." Which I think, based off of our last conversation in the last segment, we would all agree. So,
yeah, he got booed.
Yeah. Got booed that you could hear through the television, which was like not great for. I don't remember the last time I heard the Lions offense come on the field.
Matt, were you booing in the press box?
No, we aren't allowed to cheer or boo.
No, it says you can't cheer in the press box. They didn't say anything about booing.
It's funny though, they were
Great
booing
caveat.
though when they handed the ball off to David Montgomery. Like that, they just wanted to see some
I think
throws.
the fans felt there should have been more urgency.
Yeah.
That you can't run the football. But there's 4 minutes left.
Yeah,
You still want to surprise the other team. The Bears weren't prepared to stop the run in that situation, so run the ball.
Thanks to Peaceful Tim for asking, was this the water bottle interview? And I'm assuming he's referring to the fact that Jared Goff drank a water bottle literally the entire time during the interview.
Did he really?
It was like it was getting on my nerves because I don't like he's right up close to the mic and you can hear him like drinking the water and I'm like, please step away from the microphone when you're drinking the water. It's making me like nails on a chalkboard. But he was literally like chugging down this water bottle the entire time during the interview and like would say a couple words and then start going back and drinking the water bottle. I'm like, it's never ending. So does this make you more nervous or assured that Goff could be the Lions quarterback on a God bless it on a playoff run?
Yes.
More nervous? Less nervous?
Do you want this first or second, Terry?
Go ahead. Yes. So I can agree with you.
There we go. There we go. I think that's what this top like. I think Jared Goff can be that guy. I think that this team now has the faith as long as the offensive line is all healthy and Jared has at least a little bit of time back there. I think he can definitely be the guy that can lead the Lions on a Super Bowl run. I think there's no question in my mind that he can make the plays at the end of the game to win a game, whether that's the decision to audible at the line of scrimmage and run, or with his arm to make the right plays. I just think this offense is that good. Jared Goff is not someone I'm worried about. I'm worried about the defense in a playoff run. Jared Goff, I have zero worries.
Worries,
points.
Terry Foster?
Yes, there are some worries. I don't like those 3 interceptions, but I equate it to, I'm going to go old school NBA. Larry Bird. Larry Bird might be 3 of 18 the first 45 minutes of a game, but he's 5 of 5 down the stretch. Jared Goff showed me that he can perform when it counts. He put all that stuff behind him. It's sort of like the city of Detroit. We have bad things happen to us all the time. There's financial stuff, there's buildings crumbling, there's all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, we're able to make this work. We're able to make this metropolitan era work. And so that's what he did. He had all the BS, got that out the way, played like crap. But then it's like, okay, it's winning time, and he was near perfection. So that is the epitome of the city of Detroit. He performed it right there. So I have confidence in him because he didn't wilt when the lights were shining their loudest or their brightest.
Beyond this playoff run, is he the quarterback of the Lions' future?
Well, that's a different question. That I haven't decided yet. It all depends on how the contract works out with the rest of the team, with the decisions Brad Holmes has to make. They want to pay Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
There's a handful of other guys too that are coming up for extension or for contract talks also. So I don't know. Jared Goff has probably earned himself, in the discussion of that $50 million a year type contract. But does he have the self-awareness enough to know that part of this is all possible because of that offensive line. Are they going to have enough money to continue to invest in that offensive line in front of them, or to build a defense that can compete for a Super Bowl? That's to be determined. Is he willing to take $42 million a year so they can put an extra $8 into? Is it Jonah Jackson, or is it making a draft in another offensive lineman? I don't know. He certainly can be the quarterback, but there is a certain price. I don't know what it is. I don't know if Brad Holmes knows what it is yet, but I trust what they're about to do. I think
he has to be. They've gone down. The Lions are now contenders. They're not going to take a step back. It means they're not going to get a rookie quarterback, or they're not going to get some second-rate guy to come in and take over this. It's Jared Goff or bust, and they go back to same old Lions. So they have no choice. And we have one more hurdle to overcome, though, that's going to make us nervous. What happens to Jared Goff when Ben Johnson leaves?
Yeah.
And then so until they play that first game, everybody's going to be nervous around here. But Jared Goff is the guy. He will be the guy. He has to be the guy.
He is. He will. He has to.
So where does that leave Hendon Hooker?
Hendon Hooker, that's tricky. And we've seen so little of him. It's hard to really tell, what they think of him in terms of their future plans. Is he there just for leverage at contract negotiation time? Like, if Jared Goff is asking for too much, they can say, well, we drafted your predecessor. He's ready. Mm-hmm. You gotta come down $5-10 million. Or is he really that guy that they expect? You think they want to play him next year, since he's only got a 4-year rookie contract. You think they'd want to get him out there as soon as possible, but they could very well continue to franchise Jared Goff. He does have one more year. Jared Goff has another year on his contract, so technically they don't need to do anything, but they're going to be looking at making that long-term decision. Hendon Hooker, I don't know yet.
What I'm looking at Hendon Hooker is the old school way they used to bring up quarterbacks. You sit your ass down for 2 or 3 years, you get educated, we will coach you up to become a good quarterback, and not next season but the season after that. That's when you say, okay, here, Jared Goff is either too old or wants too much money, we're putting you in now.
Yeah.
So Hendon Hooker, I don't look at him playing this year or next year. Maybe 2025 or 2026.
The reason I can agree with that is because I think that kind of goes with this new Lions era mentality with Dan Campbell coaching. They've gone back to so much of the old school and the bringing in the veterans and the retired players coming back around the franchise. I think that says a lot to what could be going on with the quarterback room.
It's a key word for the Lions: patience.
Yes,
they're very patient. So they're going to wait Hendon Hooker out, but they're also in a thing. We have to win now. We have to win this year, next year, or the year after that. And the only guy in the world who can produce that for him at quarterback is Jared Goff. Mm-hmm. The world, unless they bring in Jalen Hurts.
That'd be nice.
Right.
Oof.
He's got a home. He's got a nice long, lucrative contract down in Philadelphia.
He's not going nowhere.
Yeah.
But what I do have to talk about, since we are talking about a little bit injured college quarterback situation, and even though this is not a college football show, I do have to say, very sad weekend for me as a Florida State Seminole and a very big fan of Jordan Travis. So wishing him a fast recovery.
Are you a Michigan fan now for the rest of the year?
No. I'm still a Florida State fan, and then the energy that I don't have for Florida State anymore will then go into the Lions. But I do have to say that I'm still hopeful.
What happened? He didn't even get hit that hard.
Did he break his leg?
You know what? He was going forward, and all of a sudden he's going backwards. So I think they just twisted his body.
Like Willis McGahee's knee, just going the other direction.
I can't even look at it. I wanted to vomit when I saw his ankle just off of his leg.
They have like I forget what they're called. You can go on YouTube and you can find just clips and clips of people breaking their limbs in football games. It's pretty interesting.
A shout out to the CW, because they basically were that, because they replayed the injury like 6 times afterwards. So classy. But I'm going to continue on to a player that we kind of touched on last segment, because it seems like it's JMO time. It seems like it's JMO time. What does that play mean to him? We saw the excitement. We've talked about the excitement, but what do you think this means for him?
Uncle T?
You know what? I think it wasn't the play. Mm-hmm. It was what people were saying about him leading up to the game.
Yeah.
You could tell he wasn't just an outsider that the Lions were hoping would catch fire. He was one of the guys. They talked about him differently. They weren't just saying, well, he blocks well and doggone. No, they said he's one of us. He knows this stuff. It was the first time really since he's been here that Lions players and coaches said really glowing things about him. So I felt like he joined the club.
Yeah.
So that meant a lot to him. Now, with that said, I think they should have gone to him more. It should have been more than one touchdown. It should have been one more than just go or just fly. So they're still getting there with him. I think, Green Bay and the Lions don't have a lot of time to make adjustments. Then that's when you throw into play. Mm-hmm. Dude, just go. And not once, but let's do it like 3 or 4 times in the game.
Yeah.
How many times do you think he's going to get those kind of opportunities in this game on Thanksgiving?
I could see him getting 2 deep balls. It seems like that's his role in the offense at the moment, kind of that home run hitter, that threat. They hadn't been working him as much in the short and intermediate routes, although they were doing some things in the Chargers game that were headed in that direction before they sort of had to pivot and it became a shootout. Mm-hmm. But I just think the process to get to that catch, like everything over the last, really 2 years, but we'll just call it this season, the leading up to that moment, all the talk about his blocking, he's not getting many targets. This game is the exact same game as the last few. We've seen the impact he's made on the team, on the field, out there more, and we see the reaction of his teammates, of him in the locker room. I think it could be a game-changing moment for him. Just in terms of confidence and his team realizing just he was such a necessary part of this win, getting that touchdown and everything else he did in the game. It was huge. I think it's going to be huge for him.
When you talk about a guy like this, when you talk about his blocking, what you're saying in essence is we really don't have anything good to say about him as a wide receiver, mm-hmm. but we have to remain positive. So let's talk about his blocking, which is important. But they didn't draft him to block. They drafted him to catch long passes. They drafted him to stretch the field. They drafted him to be JMO.
Yeah.
A unique talent. Now, going forward, and I'm talking about next year, the year after that, yes, you want him to be a more complete wide receiver, but the fact that he hasn't had that much time with Jared Goff, the fact that now they're just feeling comfortable with him, I just say, let him be a specialist.
Yeah.
Dude, just fly.
And a lot of times when you draft a wide receiver at 12, you move up to get a wide receiver in the draft. You're getting him to be your number one, to try to get 10 catches and 120, 150 yards a game. But fortunately, he's got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like the Lions managed to find a 4th-round wide receiver that is their number one, and he is a true number one wide receiver. Also a number one who does different things than most traditional number one wide receivers. So you can inch mm-hmm. JMO along. This offense it was firing on all cylinders before he came back. He's now starting to fit in, and that's everything he was talking about when he came back from his suspension. He doesn't want to disrupt anything. He just wants to continue to push that offense forward.
Right, and the Lions' job, in fairness to them, is not to make him look good at this point.
Yeah.
Their job is to win games. They're 16-4 the last 20 games, so they got something serious going on here. So they can't take a step back and say, "Okay, fellas, let's get JMO up to speed, and then we'll forget other things that are working in the offense." But no, their thing is to compete for a championship. This is different because before it was just the Lions where let's try to win as many games as we can. Now you should be in championship mode, and if somebody is in the background or holding you back, you got to cut them loose.
Yeah, and
bring them up to speed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cut us loose and let us take a little break and get into the next segment where we're going to talk about Mr. Barry Sanders and his documentary that is now available on Amazon Prime. So stick with us.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder. Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider Show on the Woodward Sports Network. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, alongside me, Matt Broder and Terry Foster, to kick off your Tuesday morning on this winning week. The Lions with the win over the Bears, but now we're looking ahead to something that you could enjoy this night. The Barry Sanders documentary, Bye Bye Barry, has now premiered on Amazon Prime, where you are able to watch it, and we're going to get into a little bit. Barry Sanders went on Pat McAfee's show yesterday and had a very extensive interview, which was great to hear. But before we get into that interview, we have a Detroit legend in our presence who has been able to cover Barry Sanders' career, and he has some great stories. So, Terry, can you hit us with a little Terry time this morning?
I should have been in that documentary.
You should.
Because during the whole Barry is retiring thing, I was talking to his dad every night. Because William Sanders, God bless his soul, he's dead now, but William Sanders and this guy named Jocko Hughes, who was the director of security for the Detroit Lions, they had a game plan to bring Barry out of retirement. Because Jocko, who used to talk like this, said, man, Barry Sanders not going to retire because his daddy don't want him to retire. He do everything his daddy tell him to. So William Sanders said, Barry's not going to retire. What they were going to do, Barry went to London or something, so they went to his house every night, and they're going to ambush him. The game plan was for Barry to finally show up after his 2-week vacation. Dad was going to be there along with Jocko, and his dad was going to say, Barry, you're not retiring.
You're playing.
So, yeah, quit playing. So, finally, Barry shows up. Dad tells him, hey, dude, you're not retiring. And Barry was a man and said, Dad, I'm tired. I'm retiring.
And that was
boom.
it.
And that's it. Boom.
And apparently in this documentary, they ended up going to London with Barry and all of his sons to kind of relive that time that he went to London to escape the noise that was happening during his retirement.
Right.
So cool.
That was good.
Was it national when he retired? Was it national news? Like, was it a huge thing in the NFL? I'm trying to picture what.
Well, geez, I don't know, the best running back ever.
No,
that wouldn't be national news.
No, okay.
Yes,
I'm trying to.
It was
channel
huge.
the feeling of back then.
It was huge, brother.
Like Kelvin.
And during that time, we're fighting about who's the best running back, Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders. So I mean, we had a lot of fires going, and Barry was the quiet guy, but Detroiters always stood up for him. They spoke for Barry Sanders, even though Barry Sanders wouldn't speak up for himself. So yes, it was national news, young man.
I'm getting torn apart in the chat.
Oh, and you deserve it.
I do.
So on his interview with Pat McAfee yesterday, he talked about, the current running backs in the NFL and his relationship with the Lions organization now, and his relationship with Jahmyr Gibbs and how he's been encouraging him, and that he's everything that we were hoping for. That kind of back who can make things happen, making big plays every week. He looks like he's raring and ready to go. And I think my biggest takeaway from his moments in this interview is that every single time he referred to the Lions, it was as we. which I don't think it would have been that a couple years back. And he said the organization has really changed since Dan Campbell has come into place.
Right, and I'm curious. The documentary, it comes out at a curious time. It comes out after Barry Sanders and the Lions have mended fences.
Yeah.
It didn't come out when Barry was pissed at the organization, which now I think they're going to clean up a lot of things. So they're going to make it more Lions friendly, more Barry friendly. But at the time, and I wonder if this was in the documentary, Barry Sanders was pissed off about Scott Mitchell. Scott Mitchell, a quarterback who played for Miami. He played 7 games. They gave him more money than Barry. They gave him more money than Chris Spielman. They gave more money than anybody to come in here. And he was a disaster. So Barry was upset about that because his boys, who he thought should have been hooked up, had a hard time negotiating their contracts. So that played a factor in, too, why Barry retired. Or said, I'm the hell out of here. I'm wondering if that's in the documentary because I haven't seen it yet. So like I said, I think they're going to try to clean up some other stuff. Now, one other story that I would have told if I was in this stupid documentary was this. The day before training camp, Barry Sanders called my girl up, Risa Balayam.
Risa?
We call her Risa Cup. Reese Cup. He said, what is that exit to training camp again? Because at the time they were training at Saginaw Valley. He always forgot the exit. And so he asked, what was that exit again? She said it's exit 116 or 115, whatever it was. And he said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. So that was a curious thing.
Rumors.
Was he planning on? No, it wasn't a rumor. That happened.
No, but did a rumor... What?
You know what?
No.
Broder.
Did a rumor spread from that? Like people thought he was coming back because he was getting the directions back to camp, but he was really just coming to get his jersey out of his locker. Am I making this up?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know where you heard that from.
Well, that's why I'm not in the documentary.
But yeah, he called her the day before. I'll see you tomorrow.
Business as usual.
Risa.
Right. It was like, okay, he's showing up. There's nothing to worry about. Barry's a strange guy. He's more outgoing now, but he was very guarded. He didn't say much back then. Mm-hmm. He was like a weeble.
A weeble wobble.
Yeah. He was a weeble. No, weeble, you hit it and it comes back up. That's what Barry was. And the other thing I would have said in the documentary, if I was in it,
let him know, Terry.
Barry Sanders never got his clock clean. Nobody lined him up, busted him in his chest, knocked him to the ground, stood over him, said, "Get up, bitch." That never happened. Now, you tripped him up, you shoved him out of bounds, and stuff like this, but Barry didn't get blasted. Like most running backs, they can't walk after they retire. They don't know their names. But Barry Sanders is one of those guys you never could really grab hold of him and bust him up.
He's fresh. Still got some tread on the tires.
Be sure to check out the Barry Sanders documentary, Bye Bye Barry, now available on Amazon Prime. We're gonna check it out. Maybe after this next game, we'll give our thoughts on the documentary and where we think Terry could have best fit in, because they were missing out on Uncle T being in the documentary. But we will be back here Thursday morning at 8 a.m. to kick off Lions Thanksgiving Day. You're not going to want to miss it. It is Terry's sweet potato pie day.
And we're going to have turkey omelets.
Oh, okay. Turkey omelet, sweet potato pie, and coffee with a little extra something in it on tap. Be sure to tune in Thursday, 8 a.m., and we'll see you soon.